Here joining us more to talk about this is City Councilman Alderman Bobby Long. Bobby, how are you?
Hello, Paul. Doing good.
It's always great to have you on.
I know. I like it. It's good.
So, did I describe that accurately? In my summary leading up to this.
You did. You did. And you were talking this morning. I heard you talk about regaining trust
Yeah.
in government. And I think people has seen exactly what you were talking about this morning happen even at a local level. When, people say, okay, we need this for police and fire. And they go and they vote for it. And then they expect certain things to happen, and it never happens. And then you come and you do it again, and then you do it again. And before long, people get weary and they get skeptical. And I think people have a healthy skepticism of this tax, and I think it's well founded.
Are you hearing from people in the community then that,
Oh, my
that are like,
goodness.
we don't want this? Because a lot of vocal people on Facebook, they seem to be, pumped up to pass this tax increase.
I think that is a segment of Jonesboro, but I think there is a larger segment that has questions. And here's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that I'm all for giving the police and fire what they need. I mean, even at the city council meeting, you have people take what you need, do what you need. We need you. We support you.
Yeah.
However, they have a healthy skepticism of the other side of it, the 0.5% that is designated for amenities. Team Jonesboro's list has a list of amenities that they think Jonesboro needs.
Yeah.
However, the committee that's supposed to approve those, to put them before the council, before we can approve to spend the money on them, they may or may not ever happen. It's that committee that decides, or supposed to decide, what they want to bring for proposal. But the only thing is, the list is nothing but a big carrot. There's something on that list for everybody.
Yeah, let me read the list here. This is from Team Jones. By the way, who is Team Jonesboro? What do they claim to be? They're just on their website. They say they're a mosaic of diversity in the community.
I don't know. If you
Were they
if
approached
you
by-
like their page, then I think you're a part of Team Jonesboro.
Yeah.
I think that's the case.
Yeah, and if you're against, I don't like the idea that if I'm against the tax, I'm somehow against Jonesboro. I mean, haven't heard
Right.
anyone say that, but that's well, what team am I on? Am I on
Yeah.
team
well,
some other city? I don't know.
right. Yeah. The mantra is, if you're against it, you're against progress.
Yeah.
If you
yeah.
oppose this,
Yeah.
then for somehow you are backwards in your thinking. I think I've had some pretty common sense questions. How did you get to the 1%?
Yeah.
Which we'll hear in a minute.
Yeah, I want to get to that here in a minute. Do you think anybody, the Team Jonesboro maintains that they're not government, and they're not, but were they formed by the request of government officials? Do we know that? Because to me, I mean, they claim to be organic, but
Right.
I don't know.
I'm not exactly for sure how Team Jonesboro come about. I do know that in several of the other council meetings that there's one phrase that has come up. That they said, we're just a group of citizens that want to put forth these things, and we don't have any power, but what we do have is political power.
Let's actually, yeah, you're exactly. So we have on Team Jonesboro's website, this is what they say the tax might pay for, but there's no way to know because you got to pass the tax increase before you know what the money's going to be used for. An aquatic center, enhanced mosquito control. Well, that's certainly a big carrot, though. I will say that. Mosquitoes will carry away up here in Rice Country. A volleyball complex, tennis courts, beautification of the city, enhances community experience and encourages residency. Recreation facilities provide a safe space for the community to gather and promote a healthy lifestyle while increased property value in tourism. Transportation service provides citizens with transportation options and opportunities, decreasing traffic congestion and pollution. Trail systems, walking and bike trails to ensure the safety of our pedestrians as well as encourage healthy lifestyles. Museums, educational, spark interest, and inspire the community and provide a culturally enriching environment. They might want to work on their sentence structure. Parks, city parks, and open spaces improve physical and mental health. This strengthens our community while also adding aesthetic benefits to Jonesboro. Why don't we need a spa on this list? I would add a spa to this. Arts provide a creative outlet for members of the community as well as promote tourism, showing what makes Jonesboro unique. Libraries equip not only students but the entire city with free educational resources and preserve the history of Jonesboro. We do need libraries because I think Google could go away one day, but libraries are becoming obsolete. Sidewalks and roads, repair and maintenance of sidewalks and roads to improve pedestrian safety. Okay, so that's the list, Bobby. Now, I'm going to let you talk here in a minute. Let's go listen to you last week. Joe, cue up the video. Last week, Bobby Long saying this in the city council meeting, asking really good questions. Listen to this exchange.
I think I posed this in one question, but
Scott McDaniel, 2912 Clearwood Cove, representing Team Jonesboro.
I would like to know how Team Jonesboro came to the conclusion that 1% was enough to meet all of Jonesboro's needs.
We have a list on our website of the projects that we think the city needs at this point in time.
Just listen to
And
that.
we assigned a budget number to those projects. And as I said before, though, we have no intention of anchoring the committee and releasing that information. Because if the second that we do, those become the projects.
So those projects were what you based the 1% on?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And those are on your website with the budgetary items that
Not the budgetary items on there because doing so would absolutely 100% restrict the committee, which we do not want to do. We are citizens. That's all we are. We are not a governing body. We have no authority or power to determine what these projects are or are not going to be. We are, however, pushing this. And so that gives us the political leverage to define what the projects are. We have no intention of doing that at this point in time. Instead, what we've done is we've outlined what we believe we have heard from the citizens for years as far as what we need and what we want. And we took a look at that and we assigned budget numbers. But again, we have no intention of releasing that right now because the second that we do, that becomes the project list. That's not our job. That is the job of the committee or the oversight council, and that's the job of y'all. It's all said and done.
So, okay, so let me get this right. You have a list of projects that you have assigned a budgetary number, but you're not letting anybody see it. So is that what you're saying? Because here's the thing. I know it's your desire not to tax the people any more than what is absolutely necessary.
Right. So, but let me just answer your question. Do we think that 1% is enough to handle all the projects? Yes, we do.
You do. Do you think it's too much?
No.
Do you think it's not enough?
No, I think it's enough.
Was 0.75 enough?
I think he asked.
I've answered the question.
Wait, now, come on, that's enough.
Well, I don't think it is.
And of course you don't, because you're against this, Bobby.
Look,
You're against this.
Mr. McDaniel, please address the chair.
All right, stop.
Alderman Long, you asked him if it was enough.
So this is a recurring theme, by the way, Bobby, as a city councilman. When you ask these questions, it seems like the rest of the council doesn't want any sort of debate at all on some of these issues.
No,
I watched the full video.
There's 3 ordinances. One ordinance was for the special election, one ordinance was to form the committee, and one ordinance was the sales tax increase. This went through the finance committee first before it was presented to full council. Not one question on the sales tax was presented in the finance committee. It's been said by some that this was not the time to litigate the merits of the 1%. However, I think it's the perfect forum to litigate the merits of the 1%. If we're not going to do it on video, on tape, in front of a camera where everyone else has the opportunity to go back and look at that, then where is the right place to litigate the merits? It is our job as a city council to put forth, I mean, we do that with ordinances all the time. We even send ordinances back to the committee they come from when they're not written properly or they're not doing what we want them to do or they're additions or anything like that. We send them back all the time. Why is this ordinance any different?
Yeah. Why was the representative there from Team Jonesboro, Scott McDaniel, why did he say, well, we have the budget, we know how much each one of these promises would cost, or these suggestions, I guess, but we don't want to put it out there Why would he? I mean, do you buy that explanation? Because he seemed to suggest that the tax money would go to a list that's even broader than that list, and that's why they don't want to put a budgetary item next to it, because then it would somehow limit the amount of goodies that we would get from this tax increase. But I suspect that this list of projects, I don't think the math would add up, and I don't think it would be enough money to do all of this.
No, the bike trails already proposed is like $54 million. 12 years at 1% could possibly bring in 220 million. So you're looking at a 0.5%, maybe 110, 120 million dollars. Bike trails alone that's just been proposed is 56. So I really don't know that there's a really that the list is really accurate. But here's one of the things that's sort of funny. They don't want to tie the committee to a list, but they put a list on their website.
Right.
They want transparency, which was one of the words that they used at the beginning, but yet they have no intention of releasing the budget numbers that they've assigned so that we could actually see if they were even feasible or realistic at all.
Yeah.
But what's happening is, if you notice on that list, there's not one thing on there that could not appeal to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mosquitoes, right?
Mosquito control.
I mean, I'm as far right as you get. I hate mosquitoes.
Yeah, so there's something that appeals to everybody. But I mean, that's what they do. None of this is guaranteed. Here's the funny thing too. It's for repair of sidewalks. We've already got money in the budget for sidewalks. What happens when now we've got a secondary revenue stream? Does the money for sidewalks go away? The departments of the city is responsible for putting their budgetary items together every year, and then we review it, look at it, and approve it. Okay, but what happens when now you've got a secondary funding stream that you no longer need this? Does this go down? We pulled, I believe the number, and I could be wrong on this, $14 million out of reserves to balance this budget this year.
In the city of Jonesboro.
What
we're talking with Bobby
happens?
Long.
Yes, what happens when now we have $120 million of stuff that we have got to maintain, staff? Where are we going to get the money to support that? I don't know of one governmental entity that actually operates in the black.
Yeah.
So what makes us think that this is going to operate, that any of this is going to operate in the black?
It's people. It's like a credit card. People want to. They want the stuff now. They want to find out how to really pay for it later. That's kind of what it's the mentality is. They just want. He even said there, or somebody said in the meeting, this is what we decided that we want and need, right?
Right.
But I think there is definitely a difference between needs and wants, and
There is.
What do we need here?
There is. One of their main premises is that you cannot separate quality of life and public safety. To a degree, I understand that we need to be secure in our property, safe, in our papers and going around the city. I understand that. But I'm not really for sure how an aquatic center equates to public safety.
Yeah.
And when they said that you can't separate the two, well, they did a pretty good job of separating it within the ordinance. They separated the 1% to two halves inside the ordinance.
Yep.
And I even suggested that if you truly want to know the will of the people, separate the ordinance
Yeah.
or separate it. Half for public safety, half for amenities. Let the people vote one, this one, that one, both or neither.
Yeah.
And let me
Well,
tell
that
you,
would be the transparent thing to do. At Little Rock, at the legislature, they do this all the time.
Yes.
They'll put one thing you disagree with and pair it with something that you agree with, and that's just not right.
Right.
I mean, especially when you have the ability to do both and to get the people's opinion on two separate issues.
right. And Paul, let me tell you something. I'm running for District 53 representative.
Yes.
I've been all over the place. I've been to coffee shops in Brooklyn, Caraway, Lake City, heard from people in Monet. I mean, all over the place. And this is drawing the attention of all the surrounding
Yeah.
areas too, because they shop here, they spend their money here, and this is going to impact them as well. And to me, I just wish that there would have been more debate on this than there has been from more people
Yeah.
on the council, because here's the thing, questions do not equal opposition. I'm asking questions that should have been asked in the Finance Committee.
Yeah.
I'm asking questions that should have been asked and answered long ago or demanded long ago before this ever got to where it is.
You're exactly right. And, you know, to take a bigger city, you look at the city of Little Rock. The city of Little Rock is now cutting, you know, millions of dollars from their budget, and they're closing golf courses. You know, and that a lot of there's golfers. There was an article the other day where golfers are upset at the golf courses closing. But the fact is, you don't have money when you become over leveraged, and I think that's what, you know, that needs to be the fears. We don't want to commit ourselves to something and then have to pull it back when we run out of money or the economy takes a downturn or something like that. And this is not responsible budgeting either. I think we talked before, if you want an aquatic center, find out how much it's going to cost, and then find out how much it's going to cost to maintain every year, and then pass a tax for that, just that, you know,
Yes.
because that would be the responsible thing to do. I want to get your opinion on the city attorney there and her responses to some of the citizens. I mean, I would categorize it in a kind of a patronizing, condescending, some of her remarks. But she did seem to hide behind, or she gave the excuse several times, well, we're just following state law, or, well, this is what, you know, this is state law. Do you understand what that she said that a lot, right? What is...
Well, I mean, I'm really not for sure, you know, why she said what she does or why she says what she does. She's really not there to really have, you know, to take sides or to do anything. She's there to make sure that what we are doing is on track. You know, now sometimes
Well,
it may
she
seem
argues from a position of authority sometimes.
Yeah, she does.
She seems to be making, I mean, political opinions in some regard. I mean, that's the way I took it.
Yeah, my focus is totally on something else other than what Ms. Duncan,
I know.
Duncan says.
I know. I'm just saying,
But,
like, you know, there was a lot of talk about, well, state law, and that just kind of seemed to shut down the debate. You know, you mentioned state law, it's like, oh, and now, okay, well, no more questions.
Yeah, that really doesn't bother me any. I'm going to ask the questions anyway, so.
Okay, well, good.
You know, so, but, you know, at the end, we've got to realize this. We've got to realize that there are things that are priorities, and there are things that this city needs to do, and one of the things is get the budget under control. I can't see where I can vote for this, knowing that we've pulled down millions of dollars in consecutive years out of our reserves to balance the budget, and then vote for 0.5% for amenities that are really wants and not necessarily needs.
Yeah.
We need to take care of the needs first.
You think this tax, though, will just really go to plug that hole? And so you don't have to plug from reserves, and then nobody gets any of this stuff? Or maybe you get your aquatic center, but you don't get your museums.
Well, let me tell you, 12 years down the road,
We'll know, right?
we'll know, and people are going to say...
And no one will be held accountable for what they say today 12 years from now.
Well, you know why? Because Team Jonesboro says that all they're doing is proposing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing about it is this has been said, and this sort of irked me a bit. They said, why would we want to change this ordinance because it's the people's, or it's an ordinance that come from the people? And when we pass this, it becomes the city's ordinance. It's no longer, I mean, any ordinance that passes, once the city passes it, we own it. You know, we can't pass it and then something goes south and then we say, well, hey, you know what? This was the people's ordinance.
Right,
You know, this was a group of people's ordinances. This is not us. No, we pass it, we own it.
Well, Alderman Bobby Long, I appreciate you asking those tough questions. Also, you got a big event Saturday at the Hilton Garden Inn. You're launching your campaign for state representative.
Yes, the official start of my campaign is this Saturday at the Hilton Garden Inn in Jonesboro from 2 to 4. And right now you have a invitation from me.
All right.
And I think I'm going to see you there, Paul, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep.
Yeah.